Michael, there's a simple, basic rule of politics is voters want an election about them. They don't want an election about you or your opponent. And for too much, we lost that. I lost it myself. We made it about Trump, and we didn't make it about voters. And it's never a good idea. And how could I, at 80 years old, been doing this for 50 years, lapse into that level of stupidity? I got to ask myself. But I think we did. And, let's learn from this. It's a disaster. I agree. It's depressing. But to have an event like this and not learn from it, I think is the biggest mistake we can make.
So James Carville, to this day, is still continuing to go through the stages of grief over the 2024 election. And let's all pray for him, because I'm not sure he's been having the best of times. But with that said, it seems like he has finally reached the admission stage, right? He finally accepts what really happened, not just in the sense that Trump won, but apparently in this recent interview with CNN, he went so far as to say that he fell into the stupidity. Like, he was actually an idiot about the 2024 election, and essentially saying, how could Democrats have been so blindsided to not realize that they were in serious political trouble? Now, with that said, does it exactly exonerate James Carville going forward? I'm not going to say that, but let's play this clip. We'll show you what he has to say, and then we'll talk about it in a second. So first, folks, do us a big favor. Make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe if you are new. You subscribing is the best way to ensure that we can keep doing these videos and that James Carville can continue to seethe. And with that said, here is him in his own words admitting to his own quote-unquote stupidity in 2024. You love to see it. Check it out.
I'd say, well, first of all, I totally agree with that person. It's very depressing. But if you're doing political strategy, if you have an airplane crash, you got to go back and find out what went wrong. You don't say, well, let's just forget about it and move on. No, was the flap set in the right setting, or, was there something that the pilot didn't pay attention to? I don't know, but it is sort of depressing. But, Michael, there's a simple, basic rule of politics is voters want an election about them. They don't want an election about you or your opponent. And for too much, we lost that. I lost it myself. We made it about Trump, and we didn't make it about voters. And it's never a good idea. And how could I, at 80 years old, been doing this for 50 years, lapse into that level of stupidity? I got to ask myself. But I think we did. And, let's learn from this. It's a disaster. I agree. It's depressing. But to have an event like this and not learn from it, I think is the biggest mistake we can make.
So how could you, James Carville, at 80 years old, having been a Democratic strategist for a very long time, he was a big contributing factor to Bill Clinton's political success. He obviously was sort of an electoral machine back in the day, have lapsed into that level of stupidity? Well, I'll give you the very simple answer. Is that 80 years old or not, having experience in politics or not, you fell into the same exact echo chamber tier bubble that all the other Democrats did, right? That's exactly what they were in the past election that, I'm still very happy about, okay? Still not living that one down. You guys had your tiny little bubble of elites, and you basically were like, okay, yeah, we're in this club. Anyone who's not, screw you guys. And you didn't see what the average people were feeling, okay? Whether it came to inflation, which for a very long time, you guys said was not real, and then suddenly it is real, but Kamala Harris has nothing to do with it, even though she's the vice president and says that she is not going to do anything differently than Biden. Immigration, you guys continued to play down. Woke, you just thought wasn't going to have a backlash factor in the election. All this stuff built up, but again, you were in this bubble. And by the way, James Carville is arguably one of the people who is most guilty of it, because let's remember some of the galaxy-brained genius takes that he was going out there giving in the election, that he now suddenly is having an awakening and realizing, oh, maybe people didn't really buy this ridiculous argument. Check it out.
When I said that, I didn't know that he was going to schedule a rally at Madison Square Garden to mimic the Nazi rally of 10 February 1939. So they're telling you. And by the way, if they win, they're going to correctly say, we told you in the election what we were going to do, and you voted for us. You have green-lighted the whole thing. And if we don't tell people about that, if these young black men, how do you think they're going to do if you're a young black male and Trump inspired army roundup of people? How well do you think you're going to do in that? Do you think you got nothing to lose? How about looking at American history for one time and see what can happen here? And they are telling you, we're not making this up. This is not, we can be fact-checked by anybody. They have promised military roundup. They've promised the gates of hell will rain on the enemies. It's going on. He's going to have a rally tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden that is going to mimic a Nazi rally of 20 February 1939. And you know what the media is going to do? Say, well, he had a rally that mimicked Nazis, and Kamala Harris was in Tucson and had 12,000 people for a rally.
Yeah, gee, I really wonder why you guys lost. I really wonder why your messaging didn't really resonate all that well with people. You know, that's the funniest part about this whole thing is like, you know, they were going out and saying this type of stuff, you know, before the election. Oh, Madison Square Garden, that means he's a Nazi. The military's going to round up minorities. I don't know what the heck he's even talking. But, you know, that he's going to suspend the Constitution. He's going to overthrow American democracy. All the most ridiculous things imaginable. Somehow they thought that was going to work. Somehow they thought the American people were actually going to buy that. Now that they lost the election, notice how the rhetoric is like, well, we made a mistake. Well, we have to self-reflect, guys. You know, maybe, you know, everyone makes mistakes. I think the best thing to do is learn from them and move on forward. It's like, what? What happened to the fascist takeover? What happened to all of that? So, you know, it is what it is. I guess to some degree, at least James Carville is admitting to his own stupidity. Okay, that's better than nothing, because other liberals out there are still in the copium. I saw this absolutely genius take here today from this guy who went out and tried to write a whole article about a thread on how Trump quote unquote won the popular vote, basically saying that Trump did not actually win the popular vote. I put the word won in quotes because it wasn't his win, but Harris's loss. The results were not a swing right, basically embracing Trump or MAGA, but a vote of no confidence in Democrats and in our system as a whole. So basically what he's trying to say is, well, Trump didn't really win the election because people voted for him, which they literally did. No, it was just because Democrats stayed home. It was a low turnout election, which is so delusional. It's so ridiculous because this is literally the second highest turnout election in modern history. Yes, there's a slight drop off from 2020, but 2020 is the first most highest turnout election in modern history. So no, turnout is not the reason why the Democrats lost. Plenty of Democrats showed up to vote. And by the way, let's not forget, Trump literally increased his vote share from 2016 and 2020. So yes, he won the election because he won the votes, not because Democrats just stayed home for some reason. So Trump doesn't really have a mandate. You know, it was just bad turnout. So ridiculous. And the copium from some people is actually even worse than that, because take a listen to this one right here. This is just, there's no words for it, but this is how some liberals are feeling right now.
I had to get out of bed. Did y'all see Kamala Harris's end of the year / New Year post? Why was it? What? There has to be a reason it was that extra, because that was unnecessary. I feel like this is there. It's coded. It's coded. I don't know what it means, but it means something. She's not going anywhere. I think that's very clear from this video. She ain't going nowhere. Also, another reason why I think this video is important is that Biden is not featured at all. Not even one frame. I feel like that's strange. I feel like that's a little strange. Remember, the things that she keeps repeating. We are not going to throw up our hands. We're going to roll up our sleeves. It's time to get to work.
Yeah, never fear, Democrats. Apparently, Kamala Harris is somehow going to become the president on January 20th because she's posting things on Instagram of her, like, waving to the crowd. Yes. This is BlueAnon in action. You know, QAnon, BlueAnon is a real thing. And the election denial of 2024, the people back in November who thought that Starlink hacked the election and Elon Musk rigged it for Trump and Biden's going to fix it and all this. It's like, So ridiculous. So, that's the tiers of it. You have James Carville, I guess the top tier here of the Democrats, basically saying that, well, yeah, I called him a fascist and Hitler, but you know what? Maybe we slightly screwed up messaging and we should do better next time. Sort of a weird response. But then it goes down. You have the people who are saying Trump didn't really win the election, and then at the bottom of the blue anon conspiracy brain nonsense, it is apparently Kamala Harris is coded. Okay, trust the plan, Blue Patriot. She's coming back. Ridiculous. All right, but with that said, though, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.